There are so many different corrupt sycophants within the Trump administration, including but not limited to within the Department of Justice. Now, these people don't have immunity. And the reality is the statute of limitations is 5 years, and there will be accountability with the next administration, if not before, when Democrats take back control of the House of Representatives.
Roger, what's your take on this? The next 2 years, if Democrats take control of Congress?
Well, first of all, just a tiny correction, Rob. The president gave me a full and unconditional presidential pardon, particularly after Robert Mueller's long redacted hidden final report was forced into the public by a federal judge, which proved that I did absolutely nothing wrong. No Russian collusion, no WikiLeaks collaboration, no other crime. But more importantly, this is Alinskyism. In other words, what the Democrats are saying is if you hold us accountable for the laws and the Constitution that we violated in our efforts to destroy Donald Trump and General Michael Flynn and George Papadopoulos and Roger Stone and others, well, then we're going to come after you. Dude, you already came after us. You already tried to destroy us. So now you're threatening that if we hold you accountable, John Brennan, James Comey, Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, Joe Biden, this list goes on, well, then we're really going to get you. Please. They intend to engage in lawfare as they did in their last time in power, and again if they return, which is why they must be held accountable now. And those involved in the greatest single dirty trick in American history, the greatest single unconstitutional abuse of a power, the Russian collusion hoax, why they must be held accountable.
Okay, Roger, good point. George, I want to ask you, why don't you think anything has happened? There's this double standard. Democrats have absolutely no problem putting Republicans in jail. You two know better than anyone. But Republicans are just weak when it comes to this. Pam Bondi, not a single arrest. Donald Trump will mark a year in office tomorrow. James Comey, Adam Schiff, Jack Smith, Dr. Fauci, the Clintons, Letitia James, nothing. Why?
Yeah, Rob, look, the Republicans are in a very unique situation in which they have basically control over the Supreme Court, Congress, and the White House, and are basically running various investigations into so many of these key Democrat figures that were involved in alleged criminal activities, not only against people like Roger, myself, and the president, but everyday Republicans, whether they were MAGA grandmothers, Catholics, school teachers, others, were all targeted because they were basically dissenting against the overreach of the Democrat Party. But I think that the real issue that is going on and why this is all being very slow walked is because the government is now looking at a long conspiracy case involving the Democrat Party that's acted as if they've been a criminal syndicate similar to the mafia that Rudy Giuliani took down in New York. So this is going to be a very difficult and sensitive investigation, which people like AG Bondi are undertaking, but I do believe we will have results in the end.
Okay, I mean, I hope so. Democrats could take over the House in a year. The election is 10 months away. So the clock is ticking, and I just feel like I say this over and over and over again. Roger, how many times have we talked about this? I wanted to ask you about Eric Swalwell. So he's running for the governor in California, wants to be president, ran for president. A Hollywood producer just filed a lawsuit in California trying to disqualify him for running because he doesn't have a house in the state of California. He's not a homeowner. And Roger, you tweeted that Swalwell is ineligible to serve as California governor because he committed mortgage fraud by listing a D.C. property as his primary residence to obtain lower interest rates. So I'll just ask you again, where's the DOJ on this if that accusation is true?
Well, first of all, it's a state issue. The Secretary of State under California state law determines whose name goes on the ballot. In order to be on the ballot for a statewide office in California, you must be a California state resident. Under no claim whatsoever is Eric Swalwell a California state resident. He has no legal residence in the state of California. He's merely registered to vote there. His legal residence is the $1.2 million mansion he lives in D.C., and in his mortgage documents, he says that is his principal legal residence. So he is not eligible to be governor of California, and the petition that Joel Gilbert, the investigative journalist, filed with the Secretary of State should suffice. Now, if the Secretary of State does not uphold the law as they are required to do, this will end up in the courts.
Okay, George, just quickly, Eric Swalwell supports giving illegal aliens driver's licenses, but he says that he's going to take them away from federal agents in California. Take a look.
They're going to lose their immunity. They're not going to be able to drive. I will take your driver's license. Good luck walking to work. Also, I will direct law enforcement to use every power to prosecute them for battery, false imprisonment, and murder.
George, can you make sense of that? I can't.
I really can't, because Swalwell is a discredited and disgraced congressman who was one of the greatest purveyors of the greatest political trick in modern American history, which was the so-called Russian collusion fake narrative that he propagated for so many years. And he really mastered the art of projection when it came to President Trump and the actions that he used against Republicans, because he himself, meaning Swalwell, was ultimately a target of foreign interference with the infamous Chinese spy thing. So nothing that comes out of this person's mouth, whether he's running for to be governor of California, whether he's a sitting congressman, whether he's attacking President Trump or MAGA, makes sense, has credibility. And I think his ultimate race in this California gubernatorial race that he's involved in will fall, just like his political career has thus far.
Always different rules for Democrats, no matter who's in power. Always different rules. Gentlemen, great to see you tonight.